Earworms are definitely outdated messages that are usually not in our best benefit. And earworms could be anything like, you don't know what you're doing, or you always get that wrong, or you're just not good enough. It could be something even internal, that someone may have said, may not have said, or just even a message that your brain sort of made up around people or experiences, like, oh, you're so reactive, or you're too sensitive, or you're always ... or you never ... So you ever get that song stuck in your brain that you just can't clear? You just like noodles around in your brain. That's an earworm. So here's the thing: not beneficial. That's the number one thing. If it's not beneficial, it's really not worthy of us to be thinking of it again and again and again. It just disempowers us. It keeps us away from the power that we do have in the present moment that is always here. But the present moment can collapse and disappear when these earworms have our attention. I want to also tell you about how I frame how the brain works, because this will make more sense to you of why you should use this or why it works even. And that is, an example is a horse and a rider. So just start seeing that in your mind. Someone's sitting on top of a horse. Okay, so the rider on top of a horse is what I call your upstairs brain. Okay, your upstairs brain is your conscious mind. And it can do a lot of cool, fancy things. It can think about what we call the past, it can think about what we call the future, and it can make decisions in the present moment based on a lot of different criteria. So the rider on the horse is the upstairs brain. The bottom brain is the lizard brain. Then this is your wizard brain, okay? So the rider on top is the conscious mind. The horse is your downstairs brain. The horse is the subconscious mind, or also called the automatic part of your brain. That automatic part of your brain, that horse, is doing things for us all the time. Right now, it's digesting you without you having to say, hi, large and small intestines, please digest my food. You don't have to do that because the horse has got it. It's actually taking air in, oxygen in, putting it in places where it needs to go into your body, regenerating your cells, making the blood flow from your heart go to different areas of your body. We don't have to do any of that. That horse, that automatic part of your brain, is really doing so much for us, automated every day. So the horse is always about protecting you. That bottom part of your brain, number one job is to protect you, keep you away from harm, keep you away from a threat. So what can happen in the engineering between the top and the bottom brain is a little confusion of what a threat actually is, because most of us aren't running from giant wild lions every day. That would be a severe danger. But most of us are perceiving things that may be harsh or problematic in our lives, but they're not actual lions. And our bottom brain, the horse bottom brain, can sometimes get confused with the criteria, let's say, of what actual threat is. Something that's very interesting about that deeper part of our brain is it's a motivator to get us away from a threat. So it motivates us oftentimes through thinking patterns or sensations in our body or feelings or emotions. So sometimes these earworms, and you may have noticed this, you may have one that has been sort of in your mind, you may have noticed that you didn't consciously call that up. What I mean is, suddenly you're aware of it, you're aware of how annoying that little earworm is. But if you really kind of teased out, wait, when did this happen? When did this begin? Most of the time you'll find that you didn't actually consciously call that in. So that's because that deeper mind is pushing that thought as a way to motivate you away from a perceived threat. Okay? So these earworms are not good for us. Um, but anytime that we react with, oh, not that again, or damn it, or that's just not true, that kind of reaction, unfortunately, horse, deeper part of our brain, bottom part, downstairs brain, will go, uh-oh, she's upset. Uh-oh, he's reacting. It must mean that material is a threat. Let me help you with this. And then it sends up more. Okay? So the best way, and really what I've seen is the only way to teach the horse not to go down the path that causes earworms or causes us to be reliving anything that is not beneficial for us to be really reliving or thinking about, is to give it a new material through play, through humor, through anything but aggression, anything but ugh. Okay, it actually will never work. If we respond with damn it, it's going to, unfortunately, because of the way that that bottom brain is wired, it's very primitive, that part of our brain, and it just doesn't get the nuance that we don't want that earworm. So we have to actually speak in the language that the horse can hear us, and actually kind of take a new path with that horse, guide that horse to where we really want to be going. Okay, and we do that through not being annoyed, because again, annoyance is a kind of a sensation for that deeper brain. We need to do it through a smile, through play, through humor. This is how actually we're going to update that deeper brain around the earworm that we've decided together, hopefully, that it's not in your best interest. Okay. What you need to know is it beneficial or not? That's it. Just ask yourself a question. Is this earworm beneficial or not? If it's not, we've covered that criteria. Number two, would it be better if this earworm was not in your life anymore? If you get a yes, we're good to go. So here's the magic phrase, and it's designed to be playful, and it's designed to be something that is not necessarily a mantra. Mantras are usually positive stated phrases. It's not really a mantra. It's more of a diffuser, a way for us to show the downstairs part of our brain with our wise brain that this is no longer something I would like to be entertaining. This is a path I no longer want to be taking. And we do that through indifference. Indifference teaches that horse, that deeper part of our brain, that if we don't care about it, it doesn't care about it. It must not be a threat. If I'm indifferent, it's not a threat. If I'm playful and using a smile on my face and humor, it must not be a threat. Okay, so the magic phrase is this: words, 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 birds, birds, birds. Words, 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 birds, birds, birds. Words, 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 birds, birds, birds. So you can do this on your own. You can hear the phrase, the earworm, but at the same time, I want you to do it out loud. So you're probably not going to do this in the middle of the office or in the middle of the kitchen if your kids are around, because they're going to go, what are you doing, Mom? So you're just going to say it out loud. Words, 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 birds, 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 words, 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 birds, birds, birds. And you're just going to replace and diffuse that message that's no longer beneficial that you've identified that we want to clear with words, 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 birds, birds, birds. Now, what is this universal for? So what? Who cares? Right? So shrugging the shoulders can be added as well. because the mind understands what this means. It's universal for a reason. Oh, well, whatever. So what? So you can use this to replace, to diffuse earworms, words, 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 birds, birds, birds. And I want to say a little caveat is that this is not in place of you not having boundaries or speaking up for yourself. That's a whole other thing, right? I would never want you um, to think that I'm suggesting that I don't want you to speak up for yourself, because that's just not true. Okay. I want you to be empowered. I want you to speak up for yourself, push back against phrases when needed. And I want you to do that playfully and sincerely and honestly and lovingly, because that's the best way for us to hold our ground, right? This isn't about putting aside your feelings or your definite need to create boundaries and a criteria for who you want to be around, right? But this is a way to get something out of your brain. Sometimes it's a movie. Sometimes I'll see movies, and if it's a particularly intense movie, there'll be a phrase that just sticks with me, and I'm like, get that out of here. Words, 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 birds, 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 words, 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 birds, birds, birds. The little birds taking the phrase and flying away. Okay, so we're the rider teaching the horse that this is no longer something it needs to entertain, a path that we're no longer going to take. Okay, it's dismantling it by being humorous, playful with imagery. It's creating indifference. So what? Who cares? It's very upbeat. I want you to say it out loud and practice it that way so that you have your own register of hearing your own voice. Words, 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 birds, birds, birds. Okay. It's really about repetition, and repetition over and over again is going to create the new neural pathway for what's really most important, which is total indifference to that particular scenario or that earworm. It's going to create a new neural pathway of play, of understanding how the mind works, and giving juice to this words, 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 birds, birds, birds phrase. It's going to work more and more if you just use it like I've taught you how today. Just use it, and the earworm will get less strong, quieter, quieter, and gone. That's how it works. Repetition is the key, and also to be uplifted, upbeat, find your humor, find your smile. This registers to the deeper brain. There's no threat around. Okay. Guess what? You're back to the present moment, which is where you have all your power anyway, and all your decision making skills. And then you can be who you actually are, which is full of wisdom, light, energy, joy, excited for what you're doing. Back to who you really are. Okay.